Hello students, so this is e-commerce and data security slide 3 presentation. So here we are going to discuss about the security concerns in e-commerce. So in software industry, security is defined in two different perspectives, one from the viewpoint of software developers and the other from the customers. So whenever we are going to talk about security, two aspects has to be taken care of. One is the software development part and the other is the customer interaction. So the main concern for software developers is to ensure that the system comprises certain security features to safeguard it. So the software developers have to be careful while coding the particular software or the particular application. So the basic security measures has to be taken while doing that. So if a software is made in a hurry without proper testing, then bugs will be possible or there will be certain vulnerabilities, and then in the future it may create problem. Okay, so the software developers have to be very careful. For example, many software products ensure the password to be at least 6 characters long and have a capability of encrypting sensitive data, right? So this password thing is with respect to the authentication process, right? And when the particular message goes through the wire, the particular data needs to be encrypted, right? So we have to deal with certain cryptographic principles while dealing with the data. For customers using software products, the main concern would be to obtain protection against virus attacks, right? Because when customers are going to interact with the interface, it has to be ensured that in the client side there is no threat, right? There is no virus attacks. Okay, so as we move on, there will be certain types of attacks which will deal with the client side and also with the server side, and based on that we will get a clear picture of what it indicates. In e-commerce, all the transactions are carried out over the internet, right? So though the process seems to be interactive and convenient, there are certain risks inherent to the process, such as duplication of bills are difficult to detect, and the transaction information can be altered without leaving any hint. So internet is open to all the protocols involved in internet is exposed, right? So if the users know about these protocols or the developers know about these protocols, the attackers will be also knowing about these protocols, and thus the attackers will try their best to find loopholes in those protocols to do their attacks. Then there can be duplication of bills, for example, and there can be transaction information can be altered. So there are multiple scenarios that may take place. These are the two examples provided, and so we have to keep an eye on these aspects. Whereas when the transactions take place using paper, the purchase documents cannot be modified, as there will be some evidence such as signatures and trademarks that are left behind to trace it down. So here it takes the example of, or rather a difference between the traditional e-commerce and the electronic e-commerce. So here it says that in case of traditional e-commerce, when papers are used, certain attacks are not possible. There can be clear auditability, right? There can be clear transparency in the system up to an extent. But in case of internet, anything may go wrong through the wire. There can be situations where middleman attack may take place, where a person or an attacker may listen to the traffic that is going through the internet and make some modifications. So these are possible. So we have to find the best possible way of dealing with the interaction of various packets through the wire. Okay, so an efficient e-commerce system should bring in reliability in identifying and tracing any modifications done to the transaction documents, such as bank check, orders, bills, etc. In order to ensure reliability, so here it says about reliability. So in order to make the system reliable, there should be proper way of identifying and tracing any alterations. Okay, there should be measures taken to ensure that the information sent by the sender should be the same as the information received by the receiver. Okay, there should not be any alteration. Moreover, if the sender does any malicious activity, the receiver should be able to identify it, and the same can hold for the receiver. If the receiver attains some information and later on denies receiving that information, there should be a way of finding the proof or finding the correct transaction that was done. So whether the transactions are carried out using paper documents or electronic media, they should ensure that the information is not destroyed and any other third-party user or hacker do not use it inappropriately. Okay, so if information is destroyed, there should be a way of retrieving it back, and the best measure will be preventing anyone from destroying any information, okay, any useful information. So there has to be proper measures taken in order to access the particular information. So it falls under access control basically. Okay, so there should be proper access control. And third-party users or hackers, so here it says about the middleman attack or any type of other attacks in the client side or the server side. So these are the particular features that has to be maintained in order to ensure security in an e-commerce system. So confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, non-repudiability, and auditability. Okay, so let us go through them one by one. So confidentiality. The transaction information should be protected from unauthorized access by internal users and hackers, as it is vulnerable to be intercepted during transmission over several networks. Okay, so the transaction information should be protected from malicious users. Okay, the information should be encrypted to make it difficult for attackers to trace the algorithm. Okay, so the information needs to be converted into ciphertext. So when you have the original information, it is known as plain text, and when you apply encryption on the plain text, it is called ciphertext, right? And it becomes difficult for the attackers to get back the plain text from the ciphertext, and that is the requirement. Okay, so information should be encrypted so that there is a protection of the data. Okay, confidentiality is when I am sending some information to a receiver, only that receiver should be able to understand that information. Okay, so there should be a guarantee that only the receiver can read the information and no other third party can understand the information, right? So confidentiality is confident, so I have to be confident enough that the information reaches the right place, or rather it is understood by the right party. Okay, then we have integrity. The transaction documents, when retrieved from any communication network, must be reliable and should resemble the transmitted document without any modification, addition or deletion. Right? Integrity is that whatever I send, the same information should be received. There should not be any alteration. There should not be any modification. Okay. So if I'm sending a particular statement, suppose it consists of 10 words, then the receiver should get the same information that consists of 10 words. So it should get the same statement without any modification, without any change. Right? So whenever we talk about integrity, we have two aspects. One is the data integrity and the next one is system integrity. So what is data integrity? It ensures the information, both stored and in transmitted packets and programs, are changed only in a specified and authorized manner. So it deals with the data itself. It assures that the data that we have or the information that we have, okay, is not changed, or if it is changed, it is only changed by the one who has the access control. Okay, so it concentrates on the data itself. The data should not be modified by unauthorized person or unauthorized party. Then we have system integration. It ensures that the system performs its intended function in an unimpaired manner, free from deliberate or inadvertent unauthorized manipulation of the system. So it says that the system should be reliable. The system is supposed to do certain tasks, and the system should do that or must do that particular task without any deviation. Okay, so in terms of data, the data should not be modified by unauthorized person or party, and in case of system, the system should run in a proper way. Okay, it should run as expected. Okay, it should not be in the hands of any attacker. It should not be in the hands of any illegitimate person. It assures that the system performs its intended function in the manner that it should, and it should be free from any unauthorized entity or unauthorized party. Okay, so we have two aspects: data integrity and system integrity. Then we come to availability. The transaction information communicated across several networks should be available when required. There are several reasons for the unavailability of transaction information, such as virus attacks, abrupt shutdown of systems due to electricity failure, network errors, and errors in product software and hardware. This is a very important and crucial factor in security concerns, that is availability. That means the particular server should provide its service whenever required. Okay, no user should be deprived of the system when it is requiring it. Right? You can take a simple example which is not directly related to e-commerce, but suppose you go to an ATM, you want to draw 5,000 rupees from it. Right? When you go there, when you find that the ATM is temporarily out of order, right? What happens? The whole faith in that particular process diminishes or reduces, right? We get a setback, okay? Because the ATM is not supposed to do that. If it says that it is supposed to run 24/7 and it does not, we are not able to draw money at a particular needful time, then we lose the availability, isn't it? It's a simple one. But in case of e-commerce, it basically says that all the functionalities should be running whenever required. Okay, the software should be behaving properly, it should be active all the time, and so on. Now, in case of availability, we have certain concepts called fault tolerance. We have certain concepts called replication, etc., which tries to enhance the availability factor. Okay, suppose we have 3 machines, then the whole information can be replicated in the 3 machines, so that if one machine goes down, we still have the information from the other 2 machines, isn't it? So these type of things are very helpful. If you go through big data, then platforms like Hadoop has that particular feature. Okay, it always keeps a backup of the information. So whenever you have time, please go through big data, the Hadoop platform. There you will find certain concepts called primary node, secondary node, etc., and there the concept of availability comes into action. Okay, then we have authenticity. So the retrieved transaction information needs verification to check whether it was sent by the sender or by any other source claiming to be sender. Likewise, it is also essential to check if the information was delivered to the intended recipient. Okay, so there should be proper authenticity. There should be proper method of identifying the identity of a particular user. Okay, so since in a computer network we always have 2 parties, one is the sender and the receiver. So the sender should be well authenticated and the receiver should be well authenticated. Okay, then we can ensure a proper transmission or communication of information. Okay, then we have non-repudiability. So the sender and the recipient should not be able to deny about the transaction which has taken earlier, where both of them were included or both of them were the participants. The communicated transaction information and its acknowledgement must synchronize with the sender and the receiver. So there should be a proper sequence of messages being exchanged by the sender and the receiver, so that it cements the actual activity that has taken place, right? So there should be a proper mechanism to ensure that later on an entity or a organization or a party is not able to deny an action that it has taken, right? It can be the sender, it can be the receiver. So there are tricks of doing that, and with time we are going to understand them. Okay, then we have auditability. So the information about the transactions made must be constantly reviewed to check if they comply with the information confidentiality and integrity requirements. Okay, so there should be proper auditability. We should be able to review the entire software's entire system, right, in order to ensure that the earlier 2 properties, which are confidentiality and integrity, are maintained. Okay, so there should always be a way of doing proper audit of particular software or particular platform. Okay, so these are the major features that we should ensure in e-commerce, okay, in order to have proper security. Now, based on them, there is a specific concept called CIA triad. I thought to mention this because it is frequently used, right? And we should understand that CIA, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability, are the prime pillars to ensure security. Okay, so these three concepts form what is often called CIA triad. The three concepts embody the fundamental security objectives for both data and for information and computing services, right? So they make the fundamental security objectives. Okay, so for example, the NIST standard, that is FIPS 199, standards for security categorization of federal information and information systems, lists confidentiality, integrity, and availability as the three security objectives for information and for information and information systems. So they form the pillar of security. Okay, it has been mentioned in various research works, and they have been identified to be the prime factors that triggers the security. Okay, so FIPS 199 provides a useful characterization of these three objectives in terms of the requirements and the definition of a loss of security in each category. So it says that if any one of them is compromised, then the security is going to go down. Okay, it will be less reliable if any one of the features of CIA is compromised. Okay, so firstly we have confidentiality. Okay, so we have already gone through these 3 points, but I'm just going to go through the slide. So confidentiality, preserving unauthorized restriction on information access and disclosure, including means for protecting personal privacy and proprietary information. A loss of confidentiality is the unauthorized disclosure of information. So it says that when a sender is sending an information to a particular entity or particular party, and if some other party gets the information, okay, then the whole security of the system is compromised, because it may hold some very confidential information which should not be shared, right? Suppose like a business deal, suppose a contract, suppose purchase bills, right? It can be anything. It can be very specific to the two parties. So in order to maintain that, in order to achieve that, we have to go to the cryptographic concepts. We have to go to certain concepts like public key cryptography, where we have a private key and a public key. Okay, and we then have to see how to use the private key and how to use the public key. So before doing that, we have to understand how to generate them, because if you want to ensure security and if you want to apply cryptography, you need those keys. Now how will you generate those keys? So there are multiple ways of doing that. There are many algorithms that are used to generate public keys and private keys, and we have to go through them. Okay, so I'm going to take certain popular ones and we are going to discuss them. So first we are going to discuss how the keys are generated, and then we are going to discuss how to use the keys. Okay, then we have integrity. So guarding against improper information, modification or destruction, including ensuring information non-repudiation and authenticity. A loss of integrity is the unauthorized modification or destruction of information. So see, these two concepts are different. Okay, first concept says that if I'm giving a letter to a person, only that person should get the letter. The second, integrity, says that if I am sending the letter with certain content, then that content should not be changed. Okay, and the modified content should not be received by the receiver. So that means if I'm sending a letter, the exact same letter should be received by the receiver end. Okay, there should not be any modification. So these two concepts are different, right? Then we have availability, ensuring timely and reliable access to use of information. A loss of availability is the disruption of access to or use of information or an information system. So that means it is something like if the receiver wants that particular letter from me, the same letter I took as an example in confidentiality and integrity. If the receiver wants that particular letter from me and I'm not able to provide that letter to the receiver, then there is lack of availability. Okay, so with the help of the same letter, we have tried to define confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Okay, so the next is vulnerability in e-commerce systems, and This will be mentioned or discussed in the next presentation or next lecture. So with that, I would like to wind up. Thank you.